So Jack, how are you doing today?
Yeah, really well. No complaints.
Excellent. Well, this is all part of the Marshall White Way, and I think one of the big parts of the Marshall White Way is the whole OFI follow-up process. So having a great open and the preparation for that is so important, but the quality of the follow-up is really big, and that's really what we're focused on, you know, in terms of today.
Of course.
What's your sort of overall approach to follow-up?
Myself, really, just consistency and actually making the call. You know, a lot of real estate agents or buyers that I deal with on a consistent basis. I'm dealing with one at the moment, referring him property, and he's actually said he's never received more calls from me, even though I'm not selling the property, following him up on the particular home. You know, asking questions, you know, where do you see value? Is it sitting 1, 2 or 3 on your shortlist at the moment? Actually asking questions I would be asking if I was doing my own follow-up. I'm asking a client that's looking at other properties, and he said it's amazing. He doesn't hear from any of them.
Fantastic.
So I think that's a big, crucial thing. It sounds silly, but actually making the call.
Yeah, so as a standout, it's a really important way. And, you know, you're in the mode of building your career and building your success. Working with buyers and having those connected relationships, absolutely amazing what that can actually uncover and unfold.
Oh, very much so. Like, it's just a flowing effect. You know, the more you can do, the more they'll come back to you. It's just that snowball effect that we always sort of relate back to.
Absolutely.
So the more you can do, the more you can help. I guess the more better relationships you'll create, and the more referrals you'll get. And that's, you know, at the end of the day, you just got to help. Just got to ask the question.
Great. So a couple of things. We've had a great open. We've had, you know, 15, 20 groups through the open. We've greeted them. We've done some qualification at the open, but not necessarily all the qualification given the numbers that have come through. I know you've got the buyer registration sheet here. Do you want to talk through what you're capturing on that?
Yep.
Because that's really the fuel for the follow-up, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it comes down to my Saturday, or on the Friday before the actual open for inspections on the Saturday. I'll get all the buyer open for inspection sheets ready, have the address at the top of them, write down the key questions the buyers will ask. You know, if it was to be apartment, body corporate, council rates, age of construction, the approximate rental goes with both houses as well, the housing market, you know, land size, is there any covenants? So actually having all the information on this open for inspection sheet right there with me if I need. So one, it comes down to knowing all your stuff when you actually are doing the follow-up, but also the open for inspections. When the new listing goes out online for a home that we're selling, so for me, as a new home that's gone out on the Wednesday, gives an opportunity for all the buyers, all the real estate agents here at Marshall White, there's 36 of us just in Armidale, to refer their buyers to the property. So they've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to do what they need to do before the first open on the Saturday inspection. I'll actually write down on the open for inspection sheet who's referred the buyer and who the buyer is. So when they actually come to the open home, that particular buyer, if they say their name, bang, I know who's referred them, and I can give the third party sell. Yeah, awesome. You know, pump up the real estate agent that may have referred that particular buyer. It then comes down
James mentioned you'd be coming today. Well done. And that third party, great.
You're in safe hands with James. You know, really, I'm sure you're happy with him so far, and that, you know, the conversation will flow from that. So it just makes it that much easier, and it means that we can perhaps spend a little bit more time with them. Not that we don't sort of go from one, spend more time with another buyer post the other, but it means we can really help, I guess, the Marshall White guys as well at the same token. Yeah,
great. So in that process, and I'm fast tracking a little bit.
Of course.
You would give, let's say it's James, you give him feedback that buyer came through the property.
On the Saturday, after the open for inspection. Then on the Monday, I'll sit down with whoever it may have been that I've done the open for inspection with. We're never on our own. There's always 1, 2 or 3 of us, depending on the size of the home and how many buyers we're expecting.
Yes.
You know, if there was 30, we'd have 3 of us. You know, if it's 10 to 15, there's going to be 2. So always rule of thumb of 2. Whoever's there, we'll actually sit down on the Monday before we do the open for inspection callbacks, go through the buyers, who was just neighbours, who were actually actively looking, and who the buyers were if they were referred from someone from Marshall White.
Great.
That then, I guess, categorises, you know, if it was a male, female, sometimes we might feel that some females, I'm not being quite generalised here, but if a female that you can see there was a good conversation with on the Saturday, then we'll actually sit down and go, you know what, Tiffany Barker, Beth, she actually spoke really well with you, had a good conversation with her, you can give her the call. So we actually work out who makes the call to the appropriate buyer first. So then when it does come to the call, well, it's all about getting information. You know, that's where we're really driving our follow-up call, and really what we pride ourselves on here at Marshall White is the questions we ask and the follow-up we do, and make sure it's consistent, as I said, making the phone call as well.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got that background information. We know who's calling from that point of view.
Yep.
I think, and you've also given a feedback loop to those who've referred.
Of course.
Maybe even with that buyer, would you occasionally ask that agent to call them to get a third-party view on how they view the property?
Well, they've got the relationship more often than not already, so I think it's best to actually go see them on the Monday, not whoever it also might have been that I did the open for inspection with, but also go see the agent and say, look, as I said, Phil Baker's come through the home. Thank you for your referral, might be worthwhile. Following them up, they did request a copy of the contract of sale.
They did look interested. They're saying all the right things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when we'll actually work out, like I'm saying, who makes the call, so to speak. So it's not just me making the calls, because I may have not connected with one of the buyers. I may have not had time to actually speak to the buyer. So we're actually speaking, well, the agent is speaking to the appropriate buyers, already had the conversation with at the open for inspection, whether it's Saturday or Thursday.
Fantastic. So this is really, your focus for the Monday, isn't it?
Correct. Non-negotiable, no appointments Mondays. If it's a listing or obviously a sale, of course, do it towards the end of the day. But because we've got so many calls to make, you don't want to put yourself under any stress to quickly go through the calls. When I found starting, having appointments Monday, whatever it might have been, it just rushed your whole Monday. But if you can have a clear day, apart from the sales team meeting that we do, it gives you an opportunity to actually go into the open for inspection buyer list and actually ask the right qualifying questions, because that's what we're paid to do at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So you use some codes there to keep you on track with what's happening. Do you want to quickly run through those?
Well, with the pre-campaign meeting, I'll mention to the clients that, look, there will be some debriefed agent real estate code, so to speak, and I'll actually leave that with them, a sheet of it, on the first open for inspection on the Saturday. So when they get the open for inspection sheet after the open, there'll be a blue carbon sheet that I rip off, leave at the kitchen table, along with the real estate code, so to speak. So there's certain ones like KI, which stands for keep informed, DSWR, don't sell without reference. So if we were to get an offer prior to auction, then they would definitely want to know whether there was an offer there and whether they could have an opportunity to negotiate with us, with the other buyers involved. So that's also another key one we look for. Section 32, contract to sale request. FHP, if you were to sell a first home or a single fronted home. First home buyer, I'm referring to a first home buyer, FHB, so to speak. YSP, young single professional, or YSF, young single female, YSM, young single male. So it's just a lot of codes, because really at the end of the day we just need to know, one, who the buyer is, are they looking as a young couple or are they really active, and we don't get a lot of notes, like a lot of space I should say, to actually write a lot of notes, but as you can see I'm quite detailed.
You are.
But that comes with the real estate code that makes life a little bit easy.
Yes, great. So they've got that in the first instance. That gives you far more effective strategy as to, well, what conversation do I need to have with each of these particular people. So now we're in the follow-up mode with them.
Of course.
Do you want to run through what your focus is there?
Purely to find out, one, have they, how long have they been looking for? I may have not asked the question at the open for inspection, but let's say I haven't asked, how long have they been looking for? In that time, have they bid on any property? Have they offered on any property or expressed any interest on any property? And if so, ask them, shut up. They'll mention the property, and if you know your knowledge of what's selling in the area, you'll know what that sells for. So for instance, if I say, Michael, look, just wanted to give you a call, finding out, have you bid on anything before? Oh yeah, I bid on one in 57 Edsel Street. Oh, that's the one that sold for 1.6. And you'll go, yeah, we just missed out. And I'll ask the question, did you miss out by 1,000 or 5? Oh, we missed out by 1,000. So I'm working out what their budget is. Beyond that, I'll then ask them, if you had your time again, what would you bid up to? I would probably go an extra 5, or that was our cap. So I'm really nurturing and finding out where they're at in terms of their comfortability and what they're prepared to stretch to for the right home.
Great dialogue, by the way.
Thank you. Learned that from you, I think.
So let's talk about the open follow-up, because that probably comes a bit later, doesn't it? Because you first of all done a check-in. Where does this property sit? So you've got your categories of interested parties, people who've been referred by. You've worked out you're making those calls. I'll make these particular calls. is the first thing to get a sense of, well, where are they at in relation to that property?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it sitting 1, 2 or 3 on your shortlist? It's
On
something
your
I've always
shortlist.
asked, or I say, is it even on your shortlist?
Yes.
And if they go, look, it's sitting number 1, they'll tell you. It's surprising. When you ask that question, it actually relates to them quite well, because I'm sure they sit down and go, well, this is number 1, this is our preference, and it's quite easy, and it works out where they sit.
Tunes in beautifully.
Yeah.
From their point of view. And then, of course, they say, well, it's sitting number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You do a little bit more of a zap about the property.
Yep.
So it is a great property, isn't it? What do you like most about it, and so on?
Yeah, exactly. And find a little bit of motivation.
Great.
There was a property I sold, I referred to it before, 57 Edsel Street in Melbourne. It was literally 200 metres away from Cabrini. Turns out one of the A category buyers, or one of the buyers saying it was number 1 on their shortlist, she worked at Cabrini. So just finding out motivation, which will help you clarify where they sit amongst your buyers as well. Because you'll categorise the buyers between 1, 2 and 3, or A, B and C, just like they do with the property.
Absolutely. So you've done a really good job of uncovering where it sits on their shopping list or on their short list. Yep. Does it fit at all? If it is on the short list, nice little zap about the property, what they like about it, and so on. Then you'd move into that conversation around what's your timing like? Have you bid on any properties? What have you bid up to, and so on?
Correct, exactly.
Nice on the budget side. Anything else you're looking to cover off on that call?
Anything more so, make sure they got their finance, because once you get finance, you've got 6 months to buy something. Otherwise, you've got to revisit it all and get your pre-approval. So you'll find some people will actually forget that. So making sure finance is in order. If not, get them to speak to Harry Bongiorno, part of the Marshall White Finance Group here, which is quite important. And one, you obviously benefit from that, because Marshall White Finance will obviously pay dividends if you do refer a buyer or that successfully buys through us or any other agency. So that's also quite important to dig out, where they're at with the finance and if they can actually buy. Because it's quite important to have on your shortlist, can they actually bid? And have they bid before?
Yes.
And that will help in that case as well. Also find out perhaps if they need to sell somewhere else, or if they sold before. So finding out settlement, deposit, because it's quite important to find out these queries or questions setting up before the auction day, so there's no hidden surprises for us as well as the vendors. Yeah, fantastic, excellent. So this is really that service the buying need, identify the selling opportunity in that particular mode and flow. Exactly.
Yeah, excellent.
Better.
Very good, great. And then at the end of this process, you've obviously upgraded the notes here well and truly. Do you do anything with those subsequent to that? So with the notes, I'll pre-frame in our pre-first open for inspection meeting, or pre-campaign meeting, so to speak, that I will email the vendors the open for inspection sheets. They get the carbonised sheet after the day of the inspection itself, but what they don't get, a lot of agents don't actually send, is once you've called the buyers on the Monday, they don't actually see the notes that would have established from when I'm actually making the call. Good. So I'll email the open for inspection sheet, which I've got in front of me here, on the Monday. I'll obviously remove any emails or mobile numbers, because that would be sharing of obviously information, which we can't do. You said, what about my property? Yeah, correct, exactly. I actually say that to the vendors, funny enough, I use that. You don't want to be doing that. I always have a bit of a laugh about it too. I'll also, when I'm doing the call, will make a mention whether I've left the message, connected the call, or there was no answer when they don't have a voicemail. So it actually knows when I email this particular buyer sheet, it doesn't just say, this is a neighbour, they don't want to know about it, but they actually want to know, have I spoken to them? Have I left a message? Or did I even get a chance to follow up or actually make the call? So they actually know what's going on. Yeah, and Jack, what's great about this is the vendor knows you're working for them. You haven't just run an open, hi. You're doing the work that will uncover the best buyers and uncover the best opportunities to put their property in the spotlight. Exactly. Yeah. But what will also help with doing that is that I actually look for, and I say, you look for the yellow highlight when I email this to you, because that's all the good stuff. That's the 7 key buyer signals we look for. They're the ones that I'll highlight. So like keep informed, contract to sale request, building inspection, third-party inspection, another real estate agent looking on behalf of perhaps them, getting a build. I already said that. Friend or family coming back. Correct. Yep. And settlement and deposit terms. So 7 key things. Any of those 7 things, I'll highlight yellow. So when they get that sheet on a Monday evening, they'll actually go scour to the right-hand side. They won't look at anything else. They'll look how much yellow is on that page, so to speak. Yes. And they'll actually read through the notes, and it's rather than coming from me,
in terms of, after inspection, Michael, we had 6 groups through, blah, 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 said this and that. I don't have to do that because it's already written there for them. So they can see where they thought the value of the home was, what the positives were, what the limitations were, and where they're at with their buying. Had they bid on any property? It's all there every Monday and every Wednesday.
Great.
So the buyers we leave messages for on Monday off the work line. I'll then call again around lunchtime on the Wednesday off the mobile, because sometimes they don't relate to getting a work line number these days. So I'll try that. And then the following week, I'll call after hours at 6 o'clock and beyond off the mobile. So I'll try 3 attempts. If I've got 3 voicemails, I just cross them off the list.
Right.
Which the buyer or the vendors will know, and all pre-framed. And that makes sense to them anyway.
Yeah, great.
But in that last call, that last 3rd voicemail, I will put, I guess, a bit of fear of loss in there. And I'll say, look, Michael, I know I've left you a couple of voicemails. I'm assuming the property at 57 Edsel Street wasn't of interest. Therefore, if there was to be an offer, I'm assuming I don't need to give you a call, just so I don't involve you in the negotiations.
Great.
So just dropping that there subtly, because at the end of the day, they don't want to run the risk of losing the home. So if they like the home, and they're keeping their cards close to the chest, it's a very good way of me working that out.
Yes, yeah. The other one I'm seeing fit in there after that 3rd one is also a text message. And sometimes people have just, they're under the pump sort of during the day. A text message can be, most text messages get viewed within 5 minutes of them being sent. So the Australian stat,
right,
which is pretty impressive. So they'll see it, and they might then send you a text back. Yes, I do want to be kept informed, or I've got no interest in the property, and you're in that. A great way of closing that loop off.
Especially if you're with like a single fronted home you're selling, which is quite a younger, more often than not, younger demographic coming through, young couples, lawyers, solicitors, accountants. If they've just had a job for 3 to 5 years, they're not really in a position where they've got their own office and they can just take the phone and speak to anyone. You find that quite a lot. So I think that's a good point, particularly if they have actually requested a contract or asked to be kept informed.
Yeah. Dude, what are you doing to me? You asked for a contract and where are you?
You haven't called me.
Yeah.
I guess if it's a neighbour, different story. But I like that, Michael. It's probably a good point to actually make, and something I can bring into my business, and I'll let you know how actually that goes. That's good.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Very good. So I think we've done a really good job of setting this up. Shall we do a role play or two?
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm not going to look at you in the role play kind of mode.
Yeah.
And we might just straighten up just a little bit along those lines. So let's say this first one, I showed some interest at the property.
At the property? Okay. Yeah. So it's been the first open.
Yes.
I'm calling you on the Monday. All right.
Yeah,
excellent. Michael, Jack Moss here, Marshall White Real Estate. How are you?
Jack, I'm going well.
That's good. Have I got you at a good time, or are you a little bit busy at the moment?
No, it's a good time.
All right, look, I'll keep it brief, Michael. Thank you for coming, obviously, to 23 Wednesday Road in Prahran over the weekend. Following, obviously, our brief discussion there, I was just following up to see perhaps if that property was of any interest or not after digesting it over the weekend.
Yeah, look, I think it is definitely of interest. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, Michael, what we've had 15 buyers through. Of the groups that have been through, you've requested a copy of the contract to sale. We've had 3 others requested. I'm assuming, and I've asked the question for a few of the other buyers that have been through, if we were to get any offers, would you like me to give you a call and involve you with the negotiations, or simply sell it without referring back to you?
Sell prior to the auction?
Yeah.
I'd certainly want to be kept informed.
Okay, because I know we've only had one open, but there was one buyer that I guess is known to Marshall White, has bid on a number of homes, and they expressed just as much as you do how much they like the home there at Wednesday Road, obviously given the fact with the Art Deco features, the land component it's sitting on, and the rarity of the actual home that's out there in the marketplace. They're actually showing some good signs of interest and pretty motivated to see the property sold to them. But given it's an auction, I will obviously give you and everybody an opportunity if they would like to be involved with the negotiations. And yourself, you're more than welcome to put forward an offer as well. That I just wanted to make it clear that we're all on the same page there. So hence the call, find out where things are at with you.
Great.
I mean, before I let you go, Michael, could I just ask the question? I know you said if there was to be an offer, you'd like me to involve you, but I guess was there any other properties you're considering? Was Wednesday Road sitting 1, 2 or 3, or is it even on the shortlist at this point in time?
Look, it's definitely on the short list. It's probably sitting at number 2 at this point in time.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'll make my notes here, but I will be sure to still give you a call if there was to be an offer prior. Could I ask, Michael, which was the other property you're looking at that was sitting number 1?
It's just off High Street on Hunting Tower Road.
Nice part of the world.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and really suits the school zones and so on.
Okay. Obviously, Wednesday Road is just that little bit further out from the school zones, probably hence why it's sitting number 2. Do I gather that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. Well, look, we'll leave it at that. Have you got any questions or queries for me? I've asked enough from you.
No, I'm all good, thank you.
Excellent. Well, look, we'll be sure to keep you posted where things progress. Good luck with the bidding if you are bidding at that one this weekend. Otherwise, if we do get an offer prior, I'll make sure to keep you posted.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Great, very good. Now, notice you didn't go to where you're currently living and that kind of thing. Any rationale with that? Or?
So, what I've always gone for, and it's same with prospecting, cold calling, so to speak, I never go for the jugular. I always say that. So, what I'm doing here is actually, one, just establishing where they're at with their interest, and not going for the jugular. So the next time I call, I'm starting to warm up that conversation.
Great.
Okay.
So when would you do your next call from there?
Based on having a chat with them.
Based on that chat.
Based on that chat, I'd call the buyers again on Wednesday who perhaps I didn't speak to on the Monday. I'd give them a further update on whether there was any interest difference from the 4 that, and including himself, that requested a copy of the contract to sale. So if we gain a few more, I'll update him. So starting to build up the momentum there. And at that point in time, if I feel it's comfortable, if there's a bit of resistance still there, I know I've got more work to do in terms of building rapport. So I'll invite them to the open home, because work up, I guess, talk about like what I did, the Art Deco features, the fact that it's actually rare and different, but really build that up again and make sure he puts it in his head that there's not many like this that come up. So get him to come to the open home again. By then I would have had 2 chats with him or her, whatever it might be. The third time, that's when I'll ask the question. I've built that rapport. I haven't gone for the jugular. I haven't done the typical ask all the questions in the get-go. That's just me personally sitting in. If I was to be a buyer, I wouldn't want those questions asked straight away, especially on a Monday.
And literally, I think that's one of the reasons why you're building such great credibility in the marketplace, is because you're focused on really supporting the client in the part of the journey that they're actually in at this point in time.
Very much so.
Yeah,
so that's
fantastic.
And with that, if they miss out on property, I'll actually and they start actually calling me, because I'll put it out there to them. So look, if you do see any other properties, or you want just a second opinion on price, this is where I've earned a bit of respect and rapport with that buyer. I'll just say, send it to me. Flick me an email, shoot me a text. It's pretty easy off whatever Domain, Real Estate, Marsh White One, whatever website it is. You can just forward it to someone. Save my number in your phone, flick it to me. I'll have a look. I'll give you my thoughts on price, or send you the last sales in the street or the block or similar properties, just to help them with the process. It's giving. Yeah,
it's great.
And then once you've given a little, you can then ask the question.
Yeah, great service.
Yeah.
Jack, that's been absolutely awesome. I'm not sure if we need to worry about that second role play. I think this has actually been great, what we've actually covered off on.
Excellent.
And gone into the detail.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michael.
Awesome.
Pleasure.